Hello, this is Tomasz Lechocinski speaking, and welcome back to the modeling of Hern, the tutorial of modeling characters for Touch Plus. As you remember from last time, we did model character and we created uvmap for them, and now we can turn off this rainbow image that you can see on our character and go to tab, paint tab in Modo, and now we need to do a few things. So press plus and go to application form view and expand a little bit. So drag this form over here and go to viewport settings and change it to tool properties. So I made this because in this screen size you won't be able to see tool properties. Go to Luxology assets and press load on matte caps, this big red, and as you can see there is nothing changed in shader tree. You have to go to matte cap and turn on this matte cap shader. So matte cap shaders are real-time shaders and they have to be on top of the shader tree, as you can see here, and they have to be above base shader, and this way you can see them when advanced OpenGL is on. So now, with a Hern base selected mesh, you can see in its properties down on the bottom, so cut more Clark subdivision surface, and we have subdivision level set to 5 and current level also to 5, and we will be sculpting in this stage. So we have to get this multi-resolution on and press shift and tab to go to this pixel subdivision mode, and as you can see, activate push tool, make sure it's set to image map details in tool properties, and with a right mouse button you can change the brush size and you can paint directly on the surface. So as you can see, I'm using pen tablet, and as you can see, when I'm line stroke and press shift, I can smooth the stroke. When I press control, I can not push but inverse of pushing, I can carve the surface and I can smooth it with a shift tool. You can set smooth amount over there. I can set it to very high and I can change. As you can see, my sculpting is quite smooth and model performance is great. So one thing you need to bear in mind, I have 64 gigs of RAM because multi-resolution is resources hungry. So you can, as you can see, we can change offset. It's the strength of your individual stroke. So you can always lower this down, and as you can see, I can go change the current level to 2, and as you can see, we step down on the multi-resolution and the mesh is blurred, and we can step up anytime we want to. So this is basically basic behavior of multi-resolution. And one thing you need to know, when you go back to polygon mode by pressing tab, you get a warning and mesh will be in its flat state and you will lose all your sculpting data, so beware of that. Once you go to Catmull Clark subdivision by pressing shift and tab, you cannot go back unless you don't want to lose all your sculpting information. So now, enough of practice, go to sculpting. So we are now in multi-resolution mode, set offset to 25%, change brush size, turn on symmetry on X, and lay down first strokes. As you can see, now I'm gently pushing away the surface of the model. So we want to make this character look some of it like alien. And so now, as you can see, I'm just laying down the stroke and I'm smoothing it out. So basically lay down a stroke, and now I'm holding control and I'm pushing it. So now, as you can see, it's a matter of laying down strokes. So this workflow requires patience, but as you can see, performance of model sculpting is quite good in 7.1. So as you can see, now we can just sculpt the part of the lip. Now, so gently carve in the surface, and now we need to just take care of the mouth area, and we can just make them a little bit bigger. So now the smooth little bit. Oh yeah, and so, and just smooth again, and we can change brush size. Remember, brush size you can change by pressing right mouse button and dragging over the canvas. As you can see, I'm changing smooth amount and offset amount to get the different result. And now we need to make this chin area look much stronger and more masculine. So now let's do some skin wrinkles and just push away the surface. And now I'm using the inflate brush. An inflate brush is a special brush that will move away surface based on its normal direction. So it's like inflating a balloon in every direction. So it's great for making vein-like features of the skin. So we got something lurking from beneath the skin, like bones, like veins, something like that. So as you can see, you can gently sculpt the area below the chin. And now I'm just pushing away this part to make jawbone more visible. And also you can have brush settings in tool properties. And you can choose from different brush types. You have sharp, smooth, very smooth, and you can manipulate these values over time. So as you can see, gently adding the strokes to mimic the muscles underneath the skin. And as you can see, we can now add some tendon-like features, and you can see we can smooth this and lay down the stroke and smooth, lay down the stroke and smooth, and change brush size, gentle pushing. And now we need to take this lower part even further. We need to make it looks much stronger, just like the bone inside is very close to the surface of the skin and there's no much muscles. And now this feature here. Okay, let's do the antlers part. Okay, so base of the antlers. And now you can just simply paint strokes to give wrinkles of the skin. Okay, and this is start of our character. let's go to top view and add some wrinkles to that. Change brush size and gently smooth. Remember to Modo is quite good with gentle strokes, so you won't have to be very quick. Just give it time to interpolate your stroke. So now let's just make one stroke and smooth it out. Make one stroke and smooth it all out. So as you can see, we can go to the base of Antlers and let's make some drastic patterns to that. As you can see, now we can just work on this area of ear, so we can just add wrinkles of the skin. So I believe the skin would be bending this way and this way. As you can see, I got very crisp top of the strokes, and I'll just smooth it all out. And this way gives me the nice and gentle look of the folded skin. So now let's make the ear. So we need to build this strange cartilage build-up. Let's make also this stroke on the skin, okay, and again and again. And now let's make the folds of the skin on the back of the head. The skin folds this way when you move your head up and down, so it's a natural way of skin folding. Okay, so now let's add the details on the back. As you can see, I'm lining the strokes and smoothing this part of the skin. So let's make some contour strokes. So as you can see, now let's blend those shapes between each other, so it will be wrinkled. And now let's make the bones. And need the trapezius, and these bones are very sharp, and you can see them on yourself. As you can see, they need to have strong articulation. And now let's add some tendons here, those muscles that bend our head and move this left to the right. And now we need to carve in some parts of the mesh, okay, and just smooth this all out. As you can see, our Hern base mesh is very low resolution, I guess, so this way multi-resolution works the best. So when you get very low density cage base mesh, and then multi-resolution take care of the rest. So as you can see, I'm on level 5 and Modo is very responsive, so you can have freedom of sculpting. So now we need to make this feature push inwards, so we just mimic all those muscles over here. So now let's create some muscles. As you can see, with a very wide brush and low offset, I can make almost individual fibers of the muscles, as you can see. And this pays off because once you're done this way, you have natural variation of the skin shading. So you can emphasize this later on with adding textures, but base shape is built now. As you can see on this particular example, I can just draw muscles from the bending points. So as you can see, now I'm taking care of the Adam's apple. So now let's do the gentle part. Okay, and some pushing inwards. As you can see, I'm just laying the stroke and smoothing all out. And now another wrinkle and some muscles on the back of our character. He's supposed to have strong muscles of the neck because he's carrying the nice and big deer antlers, so remember that. Now let's do the skin folding, okay, with a quick and very straight lines as it would do in normal skin. So as you can see, I'm just pushing some parts of the skin. Let's say he's got a little bit fat and the skin is sometimes loose in those areas, so I guess we can add it some, but not too much because he's not old. So let's do the skin folding. As you can see, multi-resolution is very good at creating these build-ups of strokes, and as you can see now the surface is touched and smoothed and it looks almost like real skin, so I'm very pleased with this result. As you can see, let's watch for a second me painting and sculpting this part of Hern ear. And now let's do the base of the antlers. As you can see in full speed, I'm just pushing some strokes and smoothing all the time. Same two commands, so add the stroke and smooth it, add the stroke and smooth it. And this time brush is set to push. As you can see, we can now make this organic looking strokes. So now we need to mimic the way of this antlers was growing. As you can see, Modo is handling quite well this kind of operation. So as you can see, when you see all surface that should be sculpted, Modo can interpolate these strokes very easily. So now it is a matter of seeing what you wanted to sculpt and just laying down the stroke and make some even random movement to add some variety to the surface. As you can see, now we're making progress. Okay, so gently sculpt this part also and allow yourself to build up upon last stroke, so this way this will look more natural and far more organic. So we are about to end this part. So in normal speed we can just improve the chin and now let's build this chest area. So change brush size to slight big, and with a little fall off, offset set to low value, like 7% in mine case, and you can see we can build up some muscles around here and smooth them and build again. So you introduce individual fibers to this surface. So let's build up over there. Okay, and once again smooth and build again and build again. Okay, and now from time to time you need to see your model from different perspective to see if your muscle building is done correctly. So now we can make this chest more square, and let's do the shoulders part of the muscle structure. So let's add some strokes and build muscle up on that. So stroke again, as you can see, and smooth it out. So now it's just shaping nicely. So let's add some individual fibers to that. As you can see, we can add surface over here and some strokes just when the two muscles meet in chest area. And now let's do some articulation here. And push some more. Refine the bone connection with the skin. And now in speed mode you can see how I build up the back muscles. So they need to mimic real life muscles flow. As you can see, some muscles on the neck, on the back of the neck, so some muscles over there, and also an abs area. So we need to create the chest and ribs for the chest to make our Hern look more like alien and more scary, I guess, and mysterious. So we can introduce this little feature of a rib cage when it individual ribs are fusing with each other. So now add some secondary muscles here and also over there, and you can push inwards some part of geometry, and also you can start drawing a abs muscle on the front of character. And this way you can have nice set of muscles over there. So as you can see, I'm just pushing the borders between muscles and then smoothing all out. This way I can build up very complex muscle structures. As you can see, now the belly starts shaping quite nicely and it looks quite real. Okay, as you can see, we can now attenuate these muscles on the borders. Okay, and some strokes over here. And now let's do the small muscles that make whole picture looks great. So let's add some again, and this gender part, we don't need to sculpt real gender features, so we make him look like a can for now. And now, as you can see, we can see bones over here. And now let's make the skin fold in this area. And now we can add gentle folding. So I believe we're pretty much there. Just a small minor muscle adjustments. And now let's use center pinch brush. And center pinch, it's used to smooth, it's used to sharpen the transition between two surfaces of sculpt. So as you can see, I'm adding quick and dirty strokes to the shoulder muscles, and then I'm smoothing it out. So to do that properly, you should watch some references on human body and anatomy. So as you can see, and I'm gently drawing some sketch form of muscles, and then I will use bigger brush upon them. So this way we can have nice clean start. And as you can see, I'm building muscles as I would in real life, so they are connected with the joint parts, and I'm gently pushing away the surface to build nice human look. Okay, so now let's add some bones and just a little bit more of muscles. Okay, and here we are. The arm is becoming look more natural. The one thing is good in Modo sculpting tools, that this step setting sometimes change with your speed of sculpting and leave you with some strange dabs, but in fact they make whole character looks much more real. So I think they could done a great job of making this tool looks very nice. And now add some muscles. So again, gently draw the structure of muscles and then refine it with the push and shift action. As you can see, now we got this forearm part almost ready. We need to just finish surfacing of the bones that lie directly beneath the skin surface. So as you can see, now we're adding these little features of forearm, okay, and some tendons. And I believe it will be over. That will be all for this part of the tutorial. Join me next time when we will sculpt her character some more. Thank you and goodbye.